What is up? What is going on, everybody? I am back with the Mariners post-game recap. First and foremost, thank you to everybody new that's been watching my videos, my post-game videos, subscribing, liking. Please go ahead and keep doing that for me if you guys can. Hit that like button, hit the sub button if you're new. Helps my channel out tremendously, keeps pushing the content out, so don't forget to hit like and subscribe. On the road to 2,000. Probably won't get that from the video, but I am closing in on 1,770 subs, so if you could hit the sub button, it would help me out tremendously. I'm not on my computer here. Unfortunately, StreamYard wasn't recognizing my mic, so I'm back doing it old school today for this post-game recap. What a win for the Seattle Mariners. They win this one 2-0. There was like 10 different things I could have put in the title. I didn't know what to put in it, so it felt like a playoff win today. It felt like a playoff game. It just had that feel to it. The crowd was really into it for a Tuesday night. I thought the crowd was amazing. But man, I could have put Logan Gilbert in the title because Logan Gilbert was as good as, that might have been the best, that was the best starting pitching performance we've had for a Mariner pitcher this year. I could have put Julio in the title for having 2 hits, having that amazing defensive catch, which deked all of us, especially poor Dave Sims. And he had another great running catch. He could have been in the title. I could have talked about the Mariners scoring a runoff pitch clock violation. I could have put JP in the title for 3 hits. I could have put the 6-game winning streak in the title. I could have talked about how the 8th and 9th were closed out by 2 former Padre prospects, Matt Brash and Andres Munoz. Could have put the Blue Jays lost in the title. We could have put a lot of stuff in the title here, I could have put a lot of stuff in the title, so I went with it, felt like a playoff game. Mariners win, like I said, 2-0. They improved to 61-52. Toronto loses, so the Mariners are now 2 games back, 1 back in the loss column. And barring any disaster of epic proportions, the Mariners will have the tiebreaker in the division. With Toronto for the wild card. It comes down to division record, and the Mariners have like a 10-game lead on the Blue Jays in that. Let's put it this way: if the Mariners collapse in that, there's no chance of them catching the Blue Jays anyway, so it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? So, they continue to be in great shape, good shape, I should say, for that wild card spot. Let's look at the box score. First and foremost, let's start with the pitching, as I always do. Man, how about Logan Gilbert today? 7 innings, 1 hit. That 1 hit could have easily been changed to an error on Dylan Moore. I think it was fair to call it a hit, but it was close. No runs, no walks, 12 Ks. Only the second Mariner pitcher, I think, of all time to have no walks, 1 hit or less, and 10 Ks or more. The other one, Felix's perfect game. And Logan was that good today. He had perfect game stuff. I have never seen, his fastball was on point. I don't think I've ever seen his splitter look that good. I mean, it's been a good pitch, but it was a just dominant pitch. I mean, he made Juan Soto look very pedestrian tonight. Not a lot of people do that. The knuckle curve was good. Everything was good for Logan. Everything was good. And he got a little defense, too, at times. Julio had the catch in center field, robbing Tatis of a home run, which Julio deked all of us. I thought he caught it, and he did catch it. And I was like, I hear Dave Sims going, no, he didn't get him. Like, I swear I saw that go into his glove. I swear he caught that thing. And then Julio calmly shows it. See, now that's the fun stuff I don't mind. Here's the thing. If you're winning baseball games and you're hitting at the plate, have all the fun you want. When you're going 0 for 5 and you're losing, I don't want to see a whole bunch of it. So I'm okay with the fun when the thing's rolling. That's when you should be doing it. So that was an awesome moment from Julio. Bullpen did its job. I didn't think Matt Brash was great, but he held up. Brash is one of those guys, the stuff is good enough that even if he's not on, he's still going to be capable of getting outs. Got a big strikeout at Trent Grisham. Brash didn't look super comfortable against left-handed hitters tonight. That's the only thing I would say. I mean, he did strike out Grisham. Cronenworth hit that ball pretty hard against him. But he battled through it, got out of it. And then Munoz was solid in the 9th inning. Even the hit by Kim was an 0-2 pitch that maybe caught a little too much of the plate, but Kim just stuck his bat on it, and it went out for a base hit. He got the strikeout on Tatis, which Doug Eddings took his time to make that call. I actually thought it was the right call. I thought it clipped the outside corner. It's a strike. To me, if any of the baseball touches the zone, it's a strike. And just so you guys know, if you're watching it on Root Sports or any of these networks, when they show the strike zone, if you see the ball, where they show the circle where the ball is, where it goes in the strike zone, if it's full, like it's white all the way and not clear, that means it would have been a strike with robot umps. That's saying that, like, if we were going by automated, that would have been called a strike. So if you want robot umps, which I kind of do too, that would have been a strike. That would have 100% been a strike on Tatis. Actually, if anything, Munoz got kind of screwed on the 2-1 to Machado, which was right there. He missed his spot, but it was a clear strike. Ended up not mattering as Machado grounded out. Great job by Munoz going through that murderer's row in the 9th inning to get it done. I talked about Julio's robbing catch of Tatis. It's going to probably go unremembered, but he had an amazing running catch where he came in on a ball. I forgot who hit that. I want to say it was Garrett Cooper. And then he had a great running catch slicing away from him on a ball hit by Cronenworth. So, man, Julio's defense was ridiculous tonight. An MVP defensive performance from Julio. A game that shows the value of defense tonight. Because if Julio doesn't make those catches, maybe the game changes. Let's move on to the offense. I'm going to say something, you guys are going to think I'm crazy. I actually thought the offense was fine tonight. They put a lot of guys on. Yes, they didn't get that big hit. But you know what? Like, you want to be in positions where you're getting guys on base. That's the key. Now, unfortunately, they didn't get that kind of one more hit to make this 4-5 nothing. It's probably what it should have been. But they got the guys on. When it's troublesome is when there's just no base runners getting dominated night in, night out. You know, and winning cures all. Listen, they won their 6th in a row. That cures a lot of the frustration. Had they lost this game 3-2, maybe I'm not as calm about the offensive performance. But I thought the offense was okay. I really did. They hit some balls hard. They put guys on. Listen, you know, keep doing that, and eventually you will drive in more runs than they got tonight. JP, man, 3 for 4, ringing double, 2 hard singles. His OPS almost up to 800 on the season. Can't say enough about how amazing JP Crawford has been. Julio with a couple solid singles. Good to see he's starting to get the ball in the air a little bit more, starting to hit the ball hard. We're seeing last year's Julio. And you can tell he feels more comfortable making some of these catches out there, everything he's doing. Gino was 0 for 4. Thought it was a rough game for Gino. Gino is probably the one guy I'd kind of look at and go, not good tonight, at least offensively. He left some guys on base and just didn't really have any real good at-bats. He had one where he got it to a 3-2 count. I think he came up with the bases loaded in the 6th. He also had 2 outs, two runners on in the 1st with nobody out, couldn't come through. Rough game for Gino. But you know what? They won, so we'll move on. Cal was 0 for 2, but did have the bases loaded walk on the pitch clock violation. Okay, so I want to be clear on that. The notion that, like, the Mariners were handed a run there is not entirely true. Cal worked the count to 3-1. Like, that's one of the reasons you get into good hitters' counts. Good things can happen to you, and that's one of them. I thought Doug Eddings was a little quick on that. Normally with the pitch clock violations, I'm assuming it's similar to football, where when the play clock is winding down, you kind of get an extra second because the umps look 1-0, and then they look up, and then if you get the ball off, you're usually okay, which is why sometimes in football you see a lot of snaps at 0, and there's no penalty. It was right at 0 as it was former Mariner. Who was the pitcher? Kerr. Kerr was in the who was Kerr traded for? Oh gosh, it's gonna drive me nuts now. What trade was that with that Kerr went to the Padres? Oh my gosh, it is going to drive me nuts now. Now I've got to look it up. It is going to drive me nuts to not remember it. Something really obvious too. Who's the Ray Kerr? Ray Kerr trade. Sorry guys, this is like not the most professional, but who was it that Kerr was traded for? Seattle Mariners, 2021. Who? Adam Frazier. It was the Adam Frazier trade. Duh. Sorry. All right. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know why I couldn't remember that for the life of me. But yeah. Anyways, it was a little quick, but he was at 0. Yeah, he was at 0. I saw someone on Twitter. I think it was Softy, and don't hate on Softy or anything, but I'm not in Seattle, so I can't listen to these guys daily. But he said something like, "Oh, I don't like that. Imagine if the Mariners, they got to change that. Imagine if the Mariners won a World Series on a call like that." Don't care. I will gladly celebrate, run down the street with no shirt off, drinking my booze, having a great time if the Mariners win a World Series on a pitch clock violation. I couldn't care less if that's how they win a World Series. Don't wait till 0 to throw the pitch. That's what I would literally say if someone's like, "How do you feel about winning a World Series on that?" If, let's say that was the World Series, man, I'd look and say, I guess Kerr should have thrown the pitch at 1 then, right? I mean, so, yeah, I have no problem there. So let me get back to the game there. So Cal was 0 for 2. Teo was 0 for 8, a rough game. Ty was 1 for 4 with a base hit. Canzone 1 for 3, had a nice solid double into the gap. Did not look very comfortable batting against the left-hander today. I think it was Kerr. So showing a bit of a platoon. Caballero was 0 for 1. He pinched hit for Canzone against Hader. That's a tough at-bat. I'm not going to get on Cabby there. The Murph was 1 for 3. Still hitting the ball hard even on his outs. And then how about Dylan Moore? 1 for 2, he walked, and then a ringing triple. It's funny because it went up against the wall and almost went over for a ground rule double. And it kind of made me laugh. I've talked about it. The Mariners are getting the breaks they didn't get early in the year. Saturday, Brandon Drury's ball bounces up, goes over the fence, saves a run, Mariners end up winning. Tonight, Dylan Moore's bounces up, goes over the fence, or because he doesn't go over the fence, and the Mariners get an extra run. Now, maybe they didn't need that extra run tonight, who knows? You never know how the game would have played out differently, but just game of inches. And in April, May, June, that game of inches was not going the Mariners' way, and it's finally starting to. They're finally starting to get some of those to drop in a little bit for them. So, man, this team is fun right now. It's fun doing these recaps with you guys. It's fun talking about this team. I cannot say enough about Logan Gilbert, man. I mean, he is, since June, and I don't know exactly, I'd have to go back through and find out which start, but he's been their best pitcher for at least a month and a half right now. I mean, and that's what's great about this staff, is any one of these guys can be the best pitcher at any time. Luis Castillo can carry the staff. George Kirby can carry the staff. Logan Gilbert can carry the staff. I would say Bryce Miller carried the staff for a little bit. When he first came up, he was pitching like their best pitcher for a little bit. So that's what makes this staff so special. And I'm so glad they didn't trade Logan Gilbert. I'm sorry, I'm not trading a young, cost-controlled pitcher. I don't care. Fine, if the Braves call and say, we got this Acuna guy, do you want him? Sure, you can have Logan. But, man, for what there was talks about with the Cardinals, no thank you. I don't want to do anything with any of that. I want Logan Gilbert on the Seattle Mariners. And he was ridiculously good. This was, I'm don't want to undersell it. I'm not trying to oversell it either. This is one of the best starts we've seen from Mariner pitcher. That was dominance. Truly dominant. I mean, and Julio helped. Julio had some great catches. Listen, no great game goes without some good defense, but man, was Logan Gilbert good. The Emerson Hancock Major League debut tomorrow against Hugh Darvish will be interesting. I'm glad the Mariners got this one. I will say this. When this game was sitting at 0-0 for a while, I was nervous because this would have been a really, really tough one to lose. The Padres going with a bullpen day, giving up a lot of hits and base runners, and Logan Gilbert being as dominant as he was, that would have been a tough one to swallow. And then going into tomorrow, you got Hugh Darvish versus a kid making his Major League debut. Would have been tough. Now, I mean, hey, I'm not trying to, sound like, oh, whatever, but if you lose tomorrow, not the end of the world. Whereas, had you lost tonight, then you feel like tomorrow's more must win. It would have been tough. And this is a tough lineup to make your Major League debut against. I mean, Kim's a great hitter. Tatis, Soto, Machado, Cronenworth is good. Bogarts is there. They got Garrett Cooper in there as well. Gary Sanchez is hitting the ball well. So tough assignment for Emerson Hancock. Curious how they handle it, because they do have another day off on Thursday. So you could maybe try and get 3 or 4 out of Hancock and turn it over to the bullpen. We'll see what Scott decides to do with that. You could still have Brash and Munoz available because you've got that day off Thursday. So if you do get into a tight game, wouldn't be shocked if you still see one of those guys. Munoz, I think for sure, because he only threw 17 pitches. I think you could go with Munoz again, especially because you have that day off Thursday. So you're going to get them, that would mean 3 out of 4 days off for these guys, essentially. Or, 3 out of 5 days off for these guys. So I think it's doable for them to pitch. So we'll see what ends up happening tomorrow. I did a quick short on Hancock coming up, and then Brian Wu to the IL. Sounds like it's just precautionary. Justin Hollander was saying. Now listen, Wu's had Tommy John, so no matter what, you're always a little cautious with anything forearm, elbow-ish area. But it sounds like kind of a phantom IL where it's just, hey, he's had a little bit of this, could pitch through it, but we're already trying to limit his innings. Let's just get him healthy and then back for the stretch run. So I made that video. Also, I did a Seahawks grades, grading each position by position, or unit by unit. So go check that out if you hadn't yet. If you're a Mariners fan, it's also a Seahawks fan. There's going to be a ton of Seahawks videos, tons of Seahawks content on my channel. So get ready for that. But man, Mariners are playing some good ball. 6 in a row, 2 back at Toronto with the tiebreaker. That's what I said. Don't sweat about what Toronto's doing. Focus on the Mariners. Get the wins, and the rest will play out on its own. So have a great night, everybody. Remember to like, comment, and sub. Let's even get to at least 1770 tonight for my goal for subs. Let's see if we can do that tonight. Not expecting 2K tonight, but I think 1770 is doable. 1776. Let's celebrate America with the sub count. Have a great night, everybody. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. And as always, go Mariners. Peace.